Steve here. Just hold on. Today we are building the outfeed tables for the table saw that I was working at and that I changed the bearings on. That was a, oh, not too sure when this is going to come out, but it wasn't very long ago. Anyway, this is going to be the outfeed table for the back of the table saw. So it's going to basically bolt on. There's on the back, I'm going to show you later, there's an angle iron, and basically all this is going to do is bolt onto that angle iron. But this outfeed table is only going to be 18 inches. Don't really need it any longer than that. It would be nice to be able to have a great big huge one, you know, if you're doing something, and but you can build a table for that. I just need something about 18 inches. Okay, now the difference between what you'll probably buy and what we're going to build today is there's going to be no legs on this one. Yep. So I built it out of some 1 inch. Okay. This is going to mount low enough that I'm going to have some space between the top of my, or the bottom of my top, my laminated top. So what I'm going to do is we're actually going to have 3 bolts here, and that's going to have just a little piece of 2 by 1/8 inch flat. That's going to screw onto the top, laminate top, the underneath part. You're getting it now, right? And then we're going to be able to adjust it, because I'm going to just use a piece of ready rod. So you'll be able to adjust. That's one of the big things with outfeed tables, is the adjustability. They're really hard to get perfectly flat with your the top of your table saw. So simple. We're just going to come up here, come across, and then you're going to be able to lower or raise the outfeed table. I know that's a lot to take in right off the bat, but let me weld this other cross piece in. Oh, it's in here. That's going to go right there, and then we'll take you over to the table saw and I'll show you what I mean. Oh, you just get a close up. These pieces here are going to get screwed onto the top. So I've tacked them on here so that when I drill my holes, I get them in exactly the right spot. our piece here that's going to be bolted onto our top. Now we need to weld on. I just took some ready rod and I just cut some 3-inch lengths out of them. But now we got to weld them to this bar here, because this, and I put a couple holes in here so that we can screw that to the top. But we got to plug weld these into here. So I've just got a flange nut here, and I got another one in my vise here as well. That way, this one's going to kind of hang loose. That way, I can just put that on, and it'll be a little bit more level. Any little trick that I can use to make things better, I'm going to try and use it. Give her a plug weld, and we'll move on to the next one. You may have to straighten these out a little bit. You know, it's pretty hard to get something perfect. That one's actually not bad. They all turn out like that. We wouldn't have to straighten so much out, but we'll see what happens. I've got a couple of nuts here because they get pretty hot. Down just a bit. We'll zoom in. You can see the vision now. Basically, so I've got the studs, we got a lock nut on here. You can use whatever nut. I got lots of room here, so I could just use the regular nut. The lock nut's actually a little thinner. That goes through there, and then of course you got a nut to tighten everything down on the back side. So our laminate goes on top of here, our piece, and then all you have to do is just use these screws here, or these nuts, adjust it up or down, lock her into place, and then you will always have a nice level outfeed table. I like it. I built lots of these, it's worth it. Nothing worse than trying to shim up, try and get anything flat here. Now, we just got to build this one. This one's going to be a little easier. Basically, all I did was just bolted this onto the angle iron here. And I don't need to have a piece of square tubing like this, because, you know, this needs to be a fairly strong structure out here. And I don't really need that because I'm so close. But, you know, I still got a chunk of 1/4 inch in here. I'm kind of using what I've got, and I think 1/4 inch will give a lot of strength. So we just need to drill these holes so that we could put our ready rod in there. And then we've got our adjustment for this side. So take her apart, drill some holes. Now these holes here, the stud has to slide through there. On the first comment I said I went one size, I'm actually going to go 2 sizes bigger. than my stud size, which is 3/8. There. Now we have our adjuster here for the side table, and that's going to work great. Perfect. All right. Now we've got these kind of flanged up. I can go ahead and weld this one all together. I'm confident we're going to work. It's going to work out fine. I got to flatten, take these welds and flatten them a little bit. And then the next thing, we got to work on the side table, the legs. Now, I just don't want to have legs with you know, some feet on there. I want to actually put casters because I want to be able to move this wherever I need it to be. So that means buying a base for this, which is going to be the first thing that we do, because then that's going to determine our final height. And I'll throw the legs up here on the table and show you what I'm kind of got thinking. So these are the legs that I have for the side table. Now originally it was only about 15 inches wide. I like them a little wider than that. So what we're going to do is we will actually put a couple pieces of angle that are at the right length, and then we'll just bolt them in to the top, and then the angle will screw to the top. But down below here, you can see that there used to be some feet in here, and I went and bought some casters, some 3-inch casters. I want it to roll nice. So, but that 3 inches is going to add, I don't know what that depth is, we'll have to measure that up. Of course, they're in my other truck. Then we'll have to cut this off, but we've got to determine the final height when we get the base on that. So my next move, off to the store, buy a base, then we can get this lifted up, finalize this, and then life is good. All right, I'm going to take that outfeed table off, do the welding, and that'll be it for today. Okay, so these are the legs. And on the bottom of those legs, I got some 3-inch casters. So I basically screwed them in, give it about 3/4 of an inch on the bottom. I don't want the stem sticking too far down. And I've determined where I need to be. So I just need to cut these back. Now on the bottom of our let's call it tabletop, these angle irons are going to bolt up. So I'm just going to run another piece of angle iron across this way between the two, and then I'll bolt the legs on there. So that makes good sense. So I'm going to cut these and then cut a couple chunks of angle iron, weld her up, drill some holes. We're good. Holes are drilled. So we got the 2 angle iron. That'll get bolted in like that. And of course we'll have to have a cross piece over here to hold everything together. Good. Now, typically on a table saw, you bolt this to a table saw and that's good to go. But I want to tie it into these angle iron rails that go along the side. And on the one side, the fence bolts up to it. Just tying that in just gives it that little extra strength, and then you don't have to worry too much because we're going to be moving this on wheels all the time. If you were not worried about that, then you just have to you can just bolt this on and not worry about anything. So I'm going to get this set up, figure out where I want to weld everything together, and we'll tack it up. Alright, I got her squared up. That took me some time to square that up. It's just, I don't know, a little funky. Now I've also got a piece of angle iron over here. This is going to be just another brace coming across. Give a little more support for your for the tabletop. So now I'm ready to just tack everything. And then I'll tack the back, make sure that that angle iron's right. But I know this one's good, so I'm going to tack it right now. Whenever you're doing a job like this, clamps are everything. You know, because we're using a piece of flat here, bringing it underneath, making sure everything's nice and square and true. And if you haven't got enough clamps, man, you really suffer. Okay. Okay, I'm ready to weld on my other piece of angle here so that we can bolt our legs together with. But I don't want to, I'm just using the legs as shims. Of course the legs are going to go the other way. But I don't want them really, really tight so that you have to struggle to get them in. So I just use the universal shim masking tape. Put 3 layers on. That should give me enough play to easily slip this up, slip the bolt in, and have a better day. Okay. drop that in. It drops in. There we go. There. Now I should be able to just tack it. Tack this side first. That looks good. How many times does that have to happen in a day? This. Some snips here. That'll be better. Okay, now she's all tacked up. I'm going to weld everything from underneath. Should be good. Yeah, not too happy with that. Feel over there, that's good. This one here is a little high. I may have to figure out what's going on there. Okay, I'm going to regrind this one, retack him, should be good to go. Well, we got her all welded up. Looking good. Just, you know, a couple hours just to put a couple pieces of angle in there, but I did put a lot of thought into it. Okay, anyways. Table legs are gonna go like that. Got everything lined up. The next step, take it to my other shop, build some tops, clean the top of that, put her all together. I can't wait. Alright, we're done here. I'll see you in my other shop. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.